What's up, boys? It's me.
It's your boy.
I messed up your tape. I am a mom against vaping.
Hello, I am Anderson Cooper, and today is your afternoon news. We'll be interviewing Igor Janes about his Proton M rocket.
Thank you for having me.
What type of fuel is your Proton M rocket running?
Our Roscosmos rockets generally use the LOX, or liquid oxygen, and RP1, which is rocket-grade kerosene, to propel them.
What capacity can your rocket move?
Our rockets have a smaller payload than the other rockets we have launched, but it could have a larger payload if we had used a different type of fuel.
How does your rocket fuel impact the environment?
Our fuel we use in the rockets has very little impact on the environment. It creates some methane, but it is not considered a pollutant. It's much better than the solid fuels that some rockets use because those type of fuels use a lot of space compared to the type of fuel we use, which is the LOX and RP1 fuel.
Do the type of fuels you use have any other benefits?
Our engine configuration is much better than the other types of fuels because it is much simpler and does not need the hassle of the freezing tanks for cryogenic fuels.
Again, that was Igor Janes with his launch this week of the Proton M rocket.
Thank you for having me, and again, be sure to watch the successful launch of our rocket in the coming days. We have liftoff. Success. Wait, Moscow. We have problems.
And sometimes I cry so much that I'm dehydrated and my brain doesn't have enough oxygen. I don't know what water gives you, but whatever water gives you, I don't have enough of it, okay?
Hello, I'm Anderson Cooper with your afternoon news. And today we're going to talk to Michelle Kane about NASA's launch of the Delta V Heavy rocket.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So Michelle, can you tell us about the type of fuel your rocket uses?
The Delta V Heavy today is running with liquid oxygen, or LOX, and liquid hydrogen, also known as LH.
How much can your rocket take to space?
Liquid oxygen and hydrogen have a significantly higher specific impulse than other fuel mixtures, so you can take a much larger payload because there's more energy as you're shooting off and launching the rocket, so it can take significantly more payload than other rockets.
What is the engine like in the Delta V Heavy rocket?
The engine system is slightly more difficult than if you were using normal liquid propellants because there are cryogenic tanks on board and you do have to keep it at a considerably lower temperature, but the engine system as a whole is still decently streamlined and easy to configure.
Are there any downsides to NASA's new type of rocket?
Cryogenic fuel is harder to store because liquid hydrogen must be kept at negative 423 Celsius to stay in a liquid form. So there is a small downside with actually storing these at a lower temperature.
Is the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen the best type of rocket fuel?
I would say, and I believe NASA as a whole would say, that it is the best fuel to be using because there are relatively no environmental impacts since both of the byproducts are just hydrogen gas and oxygen gas, which are already in the atmosphere. And it doesn't have a difficult system or ignite on contact or be toxic to people like hypergolics or other liquid fuels can be.
Michelle, thank you for being on our show tonight with us. Good luck with your rocket launch later this week.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
Arcadia Gayoji about the rocket launches last week from Russia and the US. I don't care that I said it wrong, okay?
Hello, this is Anderson Cooper with your afternoon news. Today we'll be interviewing our news station scientist, Raketia Gayoji, about the rocket launches last week from Russia and the US. So, Dr. Gayoji, can you tell us why the Russian rocket launch was a failure while America's rocket launch was a success?
I would have to say that the rocket failed because of the fuel that Russia used. Their fuel was liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene, as opposed to what NASA used with the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen fuel.
Can you tell us why rockets should use liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen as opposed to liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene in the future?
The reason that liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen fuel is better than liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene is because liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen is non-toxic and only releases oxygen and hydrogen into the atmosphere, as opposed to the trace amount of methane that is released during liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene rocket launches. Also, the liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen system is much less dense than liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene, so you can pack more of it onto a ship, which means it's more efficient. Being able to carry more fuel on the rocket means it has a larger payload, which makes it stronger and able to carry more stuff. All of these things together means that liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen is a much better alternative for rocket fuel than liquid oxygen and rocket-grade kerosene, and is the reason for NASA's successful rocket launch compared to Russia's failure.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Gayoji, and good luck with future rocket launches. Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare,
Pretty
the
dramatic
bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night.
So how'd you feel about it,
that
Ian?
our flag
Amen, hallelujah.
Yeah?
Yes,
You
sir.
think everything went well?
Say
I think that this
does
is
that
not only a masterpiece,
star-spangled banner
it's an epic.
yet
A tale that will be told down for generations.
You should look into the mirror, too.
wave
That doesn't make sense because I'm talking to you.
Okay.
of the free and the home of
And it's gone, just like that. It's that easy.
the brave. Amen, hallelujah.
That was beautiful.
That was great, dude.